Today back my birch that was started from a seed in the Grow It Bonsai Kit. It's only 2 years old at this point, which is just insane. It is so much fine growth already. I have been growing under the grow light, which probably explains why it's had such extreme growth. But it also means I've been keeping it in the shed for the last few months to make sure it gets some rest. But I've brought it back inside here, which of course means I'm pruning it back to get it ready for spring. I removed that large tall part at the top and just shortened everything else back. The fact this tree is so young and has side branches already is just crazy. Also, if you remember in the last video, I messed this tree up by defoliating it when I shouldn't have, but even so it still looks great now. Now it's back inside, it should explode with growth pretty quickly. The sudden increase in temperature usually means it will be waking up pretty soon, and hopefully it'll put on a good amount of growth again this year. For such a young tree, I'm really happy with it. A few weeks later, and we have some signs of life. You can see the buds are starting to swell. Also, just look at the moss, it's so thick. And as it's waking up, it means it's the perfect time to repot. Although I'm not sure what happened. It's a few days later and some of the leaves have actually opened up, so it really is time I got this repotted, or I'm going to miss the window of opportunity. Not every leaf is opened up though, so it should all be fine. I started by removing that moss, and now you can really see how thick it is. I did nothing to encourage this, it just grows like crazy here. Once that was out of the way, I could actually see the rim and decided to give it a bit of a pull. It's a pretty flexible pot, so it actually came out pretty easily. But of course it is a solid block. This tree has been growing like crazy, so it's not really a surprise. Some of those bottom roots do look a little black, so maybe they got a little too wet or cold and died. But that's fine, they're going to be cut off anyway, so it's not going to affect anything. So after a long time raking, I was left with this. I have to remind you that this is a 2-year-old tree grown from seed. That root base is spread out so nicely, and it's pretty flat. This tree is doing everything right. It's incredible. There's even a little bit of trunk flare at the base. I pruned it back and then I was left with this, which for some reason doesn't want to go in focus. Okay, there we go. So you can see it's really decent root ball. If there wasn't video evidence to show this tree was only 2 years old, I wouldn't even believe it. I hope this tree doesn't like peak at 3 years old and then go downhill from there. Also, looking at this now, I may cut it back to the first branch this spring, but we'll see. I think this will generally work bigger as a larger tree, but we'll see what happens. Anyway, I just repotted it back up in the same pot, and it seems happy enough in there. And more importantly, I don't have space for anything bigger, so it'll just have to do. In April, it's pretty much all in leaf, and it looks happy enough. In May, it still looks fine. The leaves are actually quite small, but there is plenty of them, so that's always good to see. In June it's looking very full, but there is some slight yellowing around the edges of the leaves, so maybe I'm watering too much, but I'm not too worried. There's no real change in July. It seems happy enough, but it still hasn't gone crazy. But that's actually happened to every tree last year. Nothing went mad. Even the trees like this that were growing under the grow lights didn't take off. Again in August, nothing much happening. Still got that yellowing, but it's not any worse. And you can see the moss is filling in nicely again. pretty much going to be slowing down here in September. So no pruning at all this year, which is a shame. So no more development, but still healthy. So that's all that matters for now. By October it started to change colour. I have turned the grow lights down quite a lot to emulate autumn, which is why it's shutting down. So it didn't go as crazy as the last 2 years, but that's fine. It's still young, it's still got plenty of time to develop. In November it's still shutting down. It takes its time doing this as it's still inside, so it's not exactly cold. It's just the light levels that have changed. But come December I'll stick it in the shed and then the light levels will pretty much match the temperature. And then it can have a proper rest. I really think that I might have to keep this tree outside now. The grow tent is getting a little full. All the other trees are starting to spread out. And while I want to give this one more light, it can actually live outside. So I think it may just need to stay out there now to make room for the ones that can't go out. I guess it had a good start to life, so hopefully it can keep progressing outside. But for now it will just stay in the shed a little longer to protect it, since it won't have hardened off properly in autumn. And then when it's nearly spring, I'll put it outside, it can go from there. Thanks for watching, see you next time.